Okay, we're going to start with 3 quarts of water. Could I trouble you for 3 quarts of water?
Sure. Took my bucket.
One of the questions I get is, if I'm making Italian ice, do I have to purify the water? Well, the answer is a very definitive yes and no. Just like bagels. Everybody from New York knows you can't make a bagel anywhere but New York because of the water. So we think. It's not quite as true with Italian ice, but it does have some effect. Here in Brooksville, Florida, north of Tampa, the water is absolutely horrendous. It tastes like liquid rock. It has so many minerals in it. And it's just not something you'd ever want to drink. But if I'm selling Italian ice here in Brooksville, the people of Brooksville grew up here. They've been drinking the water since they were children. All their lives they drank the water. They don't know it's bad. Only us out-of-towners who moved in know that the water is terrible. So if I'm going to open up an Italian ice business in Brooksville, I don't need to filter the water because we're used to the taste. If I go to Miami, where everybody's a tourist, everybody's from the north, they know what the water tastes like when it's bad. So yes, you'd want to put in a Culligan system and filter the water before you make your Italian ice. So for most of you, anywhere around the country, around the world, you're not going to have to filter the water because your customers are local. So we've got 3 quarts of water. I'm going to step off camera and get the lemon juice. I fresh squeezed last night.
Any questions? Really? What?
Where do you buy those white buckets?
Ah, where do you buy these white buckets? Good question. Where do you buy these white buckets?
I won't even ask. I've learned not to ask. I can go back and review the tape, but by that time, he's an hour away and he doesn't care what he said. I checked last night. 4 lemons or 4 pounds of lemons equals 1 quart of lemon juice. 18 lemons is a quart. So I've got a quart here, but my thing says we're only going to use 8 ounces. So I have a nice little cup here. And I'm going to taste this before I make it to make sure it's exactly what I want.
This is lemon juice?
Yeah.
Looks like orange.
It's lemon. Fresh squeezed. I squeezed it myself.
Really?
2 ounces of fresh orange juice. This adds to the flavor and cuts the bite
That's the
a little
secret,
bit.
by the way.
Yes, I know. That's why I do it. Okay. So that's in there. So far, everything all natural, all fresh, no chemicals, no artificial, nothing. My sugar, I need, where is it here? Lemon juice, orange juice, 1 3/4 pounds of sugar.
1 3/4 pounds of sugar. 1 3/4 pounds of sugar.
A good scale is really handy, and a digital scale that you can tear to 0 just makes time so much easier. What? I know, you save money. You've got 2 rocks, and
No.
2 rocks weigh a certain amount, and you've got the sugar on the other, and you balance.
In all the books that you read on starting up a business, they tell you to get one of these $300 scales.
Oh, yeah, it's way too expensive.
And what I use is the $5 scales. And when they break, which they don't, by the way, you throw them out, but they don't break. They're fine. And they do have a 0 reset, and they're fine. 1 3/4 pounds?
Yeah. No, they work great. This scale was stolen from Malcolm Stogo, and I'm not giving it back, so that's why I like having it.
If you use sugarcane sugar, is it the same as regular sugar?
Yes, sugar cane, isn't it? Sugar cane. Sugar comes from sugar cane. It's refined at the factory and bleached so that it's pure white. They also have some additives in there that they don't want you to know about that keeps it from clumping. We had this discussion the other day that Jeff said that the cheap sugar clumped, and the good stuff doesn't, well, the good stuff clumps too if you keep it long enough. There's Domino, and that cost a lot of money to put it in that package. Here's Publix brand, and it costs a bit less, and it's the same stuff. And I just wanted to show you, because I like to show you when you're wrong. What do you see in there? Clumps.
I don't believe that's the real sugar.
Can we see this? No, that is.
No, you
That's
switched
clumps
the
in there,
sugar.
folks. That's
You
clumps.
switched the sugar.
I didn't switch the sugar. It's all a matter of
Look,
age.
the
You know,
guy makes
you
a hell
started
of a
getting
machine.
clump. You
He
started
makes
getting
a great machine. He won't skip on the stainless steel. When you use sugar, for a 25-pound bag, it's less than $1. 25-pound bag, less than $1 from the Restaurant Depot, a Walmart brand, to Domino's. And trust me, the Domino's is better sugar.
And if you listen to him, he'd skin me alive for $1. So it doesn't make a difference.
No
but
argument there.
we leave that to yourselves. I'm going to pour this in here. I don't want you pouring it into the machine because sugar acts like sandpaper. And although my blades, which I'll show you a little later, are designed to last 5 years, you go throwing sandpaper into a machine and it's not going to do any good. So in order to save the longevity, I put it in here. Sugar dissolves very, very quickly. You don't need to heat it up. You know, you can read all sorts of wives' tales and cookbooks, which are wrong. You don't need to heat it up. It dissolves very nicely in here. Now, before I make this, I'm going to taste it. If I'm making ice cream, which we will today, when you taste Jeff's ice cream, it's fantastic. But guess what? When you taste it tomorrow, it's even better because the flavor blooms overnight. That's not true. That's dairy. It's not true with Italian ice. Italian ice, what you see is what you get. What do you think?
It's good.
Does it need anything?
In my opinion,
In your opinion?
it needs more lemon juice.
All right. That's what I thought too. So let's go for a little more.
I like bolder flavors.
I do too. Want to try that? We can go bolder still. That's why I made extra. And so you take my world's best lemon ice formula and adapt it to your personal taste.
There's a pit in there.
Good. Adds character. Still more?
You know what I'm tasting? I'm tasting that the orange juice is overpowering the lemon juice.
Huh. Well, how do you like it overall?
It's good.
Okay, we'll go with that. You heard him. So when he says later, oh, you know, I could have made this so much better. The things I have to suffer, I'm telling you. And I have eyes behind my back, even though you were the... See, he's a school teacher.
Okay, I did this.
You know, all this is caught on tape, Jeff, and you're going to detention later. Okay, we pour that in. Now, with the infinite overrun control, you can select the product and control the speed, which then controls the consistency. I'm going to hit Italian ice right there, start, and now the machine's running. I'm going to turn on the refrigeration. There that goes. I'm going to pick out a cheap timer and set it for, I don't know, we'll look at it after 10 minutes. I just put that. I have all sorts of cheap timers. My bookkeeper gave me that one. That's really cool. And I've got another one here. I don't put timers on my machinery. Everybody says, oh, you got to have a timer on the machine. The Italians put a timer on. Well, that doesn't make it right. It makes it expensive. In order for this $6 timer to go onto this machine, it would cost about $230 in parts. It would have to be Underwriters Laboratories approved. It would have to be National Sanitation Foundation sealed, which this certainly is not. And when it breaks, because it will break, it'll take down the whole machine. So Saturday afternoon, your whole machine goes down because of a $6 timer. With my machine, I just throw this away and go buy another one. You know, it's really that simple. Because no two products are alike. In Italian ice especially, the sugar content determines the freezing time. My lemon ice formula could take roughly 16 minutes to freeze. If I make strawberry Italian ice, now I've got sugar, water, and strawberries. You ever eat a strawberry as opposed to a lemon? Lemons are bitter. Strawberries are sweet. That's fructose. So you're adding more sugar to the formula. More sugar, longer freezing time. So strawberry Italian ice, when we make it today, will take a little bit longer than this one. So I could set up.
What do we have this for?
I'm through with it. That's what I squeeze my lemons with. I could have a timer on here, and I've done trade shows against other people's machines, and the guy goes over and sets the timer, and I think Capajani calls it the Heart-O-Matic, or the Heart-O-Tronic. And it's set for ice cream, so exactly at 8 minutes, the machine shuts down. Well, that's great, except you're making Italian ice and your product isn't ready. So he's got to go over when no one's looking and just turn the machine back on. So this process is not mechanized. I was at Penn State last week teaching, and I was next to Capajani, and I got such a kick out of what they were telling people because, Jeff, you wouldn't believe it. It made no sense at all. He said, with our machine, our Capajani, we can set the timer, and we're making tiramisu gelato. And when it's ready, the machine will shut itself down, and it will wait for you to come to it. He said you could be out at the grocery store for 2 hours and come back, and the product will be waiting for you.
No,
Would you want to eat a cake that is sat in your oven for 2 hours? Even if the temperature did go down to nothing, that cake's drying out. It's sitting in your oven of all things.
Did he mean they have a sensor for the consistency of the product?
Yes. And so it shuts down the whole machine. And he said, literally, you could go to the grocery store for 2 hours.
You and I like our things differently.
That's right.
I mean, I like it pulled loose. You like it pulled firm.
That's right. So you can't do that with their machine because they've already determined what you're going to make.
Don't leave the room when your machine is running.
Yeah.
For anything.
And don't take phone calls. And don't talk to your friends. You're here. If you were running a bakery, you would not be out front serving cookies or going out to buy flour and then coming back. You would say, okay, I'm going to bake for the next 4 hours. You're going to make ice cream for the next 4 hours. That's your job, to build up an inventory of ice cream and ices. And then when you're finished after that 4 hours, then you'll go do other stuff. So we have made we have 110 years of experience of making this process as simple as can be. But it's still a process just like cooking. You don't throw some steaks on the grill and then go sit down and have a couple of beers with your friends. You stand by the steaks, waiting until they're perfectly ready to serve. Go ahead, say a couple things.
No, that's fine. That's great.
I'll just float around.
You want to do this now?
Yeah. What we're going to show you today is something that I've made.
Ingenious.
And this is just a prototype to show you the size. I wanted clear so that you'll see the red, white, and blue ice that we're going to make today. We're going to make rainbow ice. Rainbow ice is usually 3 colors. And the way you do it, what a commercial company does, which is really not an ice, it's just frozen sugar water. They have a machine with 3 nozzles and they're injecting 3 flavors in. Well, that's fine if you have $500,000 for a 3-nozzle machine that makes 1,000 gallons an hour minimum. We are batch freezers, and we are entrepreneur people and small business people. We cater to you. So I'm making this available. This I made for here, but we're going to make it for a larger size that's going to fit in so that it'll fit this size containers, the ones that we use. And it's very simple. I'm going to make the lemon, and then I have several of these, and I'm going to fill up one section with the lemon ice. And then a little later on in the morning, I'm going to make strawberry ice, and I'll fill up another section with strawberry. And then this afternoon, I'm going to bake blue raspberry, which its only redeeming quality is it's bright blue, but kids love it. And I'll make the blue ice. And then when it's all finished, I'll take this out, and I'll have red, white, and blue in my container, and I will scoop in a semicircular motion, picking up all 3 flavors. And that's rainbow ice. And there is not a video anywhere else on YouTube that you can look at today where you're going to find out the secret of how to make rainbow ice or how to do it. So this is available from us in the larger version for making your rainbow ice when you get to that point. It's a very popular product with children, which, while this is still running, brings me up to... no, I'll have to save it for later. It's almost ready. But we're going to talk later about the different flavor levels, fresh fruit, bases, and extracts. And you will use all 3 in your business. But just an example, the blue ice is just laden with all sorts of blue dye and all sorts of other horrible stuff in it. But you know what? You don't want to just say, I'm not going to sell something that's blue because I know it's got blue dye in it. There are certain times in business that you've got to say, this is what children really like, so I will concede this one flavor away from my all-natural to sell to children. If you're running a health food store, you're not going to sell blue ice. I mean, it's really that simple. So let me just check this product. Can I take this?
Sure.
Okay, that's not ready yet. It's still soupy, and it's got a ways to go, but I just wanted to see how we're doing. And as you'll see today, everything goes into the Emery Thompson. We're the only machine on earth that everything goes in. By everything, I mean nuts, cookies, candies, whole fruit. I can take whole bananas and just drop them right in the machine. And what that means for you is for every particle of, say, an ice cream, in every particle of cream, there's a particle of banana next to it. So we have a much more intense flavor than anyone else. I tell people all the time, we make a far better gelato than the Italians do. Because when I'm making when they're making fruit Tabasco, which is just a fancy term for mixed berries, mixed fruit, they're adding the fruit at the end. So they're making vanilla gelato with fruit added to it. When I make fruit Tabasco, my fruit goes right in, half of my fruit goes right into the machine. It gets ground up like a Cuisinart. So if you were blindfolded and you tasted it, you would say, yeah, that's fruit Tabasco. I can taste the different flavors of fruit. But you take the blindfold off, and what you see is a pale red ice cream or gelato from the fruit all being ground up, and there were some raspberries in there. So I take my second half of my fruit. If I'm using, say, a pound of fruit, half a pound goes in the machine. The other half I shake in as it's coming out. So I'm getting fruit flavor in the machine and fruit identity. I can see what it is as it's coming out. They can't do that. Everything is basically what we call commercial grade, where you have to add it at the end. The reason they can't do it is their barrels aren't strong enough, their dashers aren't strong enough, and our openings are so large that we can get everything in and out very quickly. So let me take another look at this. Normally, I would be, if I was a regular ice cream maker like Jeff, I would know exactly what the timing was, and I would be over like Jeff is doing. He's getting his ricotta ready, he's measuring out his different things.
And when use this.
That's nice. And when the bell goes off, he says, oh, I got a minute to get back and check the machine. But I don't make ice cream every day, so I'm going to just be a little more cautious. Now that's a nice consistency. And see how pure white that is? That's because there is no artificial anything in there. Sugar, water, and flavor. If I really, thank you, I knew it. If I really wanted to jazz it up, I would take about 6 California lemons, grate the outside skin off that a chef calls a zest, you know, like with a cheese grater, and I'd have a pure white field with little specks of lemon in it. It would be beautiful. So now with my divider, I'm going to fill this up. Okay, let me just tap that down. So there's my first third of the 3 flavors. And I'll put that in the freezer until we make the next flavor.
Disaster. He's a disaster.
Okay, now the rest of this I'll take out into a container so that you can get to taste it. But look how fast that comes out, nice and firm, all natural. You just couldn't have a better product.
Bowls.
Bowls?
Right.
Yes, we have bowls here somewhere, Chief Bowls. You just have to look around. I know,
Okay,
Paul.
I've looked around.
All right, then you take over this,
Okay.
and I will go look for the bowls because they're going to be here somewhere.
Bowls.
Thank you. See? Told you we could do this. And we'll make a little room up front here. Now, of course, if you're going to buy lemons at the supermarket, it's going to cost you one price. If you buy them by the case, the more you buy, the price goes down. So 3 gallons of this product probably costs about $4, $4.50. So $4.50 for a large tub of lemon ice, all fresh, all natural, as compared to what you would buy at wholesale for, say, $30, which is just going to be vanilla. I mean, it's just going to be water, sugar, and a lemon extract. So come on up and try this and see if it isn't the best you ever had.
Are we done with this?
I'm done with that.
Okay.
Come on, everybody up.
Everybody up.
You better get used to this. You're going to be doing it all day.
Sammy, come here, girl.